Coliseum tonight, where it is time for the 4A West regional final matchup between the two-seeded Lake Norman Wildcats at 28-2, taking on the Vikings of North Mecklenburg out of the Queen City 3A, 4A conference, where someone is going to punch their ticket to the state championship on Saturday. Hi everyone, Kendall Lewis alongside the former coach John Reister here with you on the NFHS Network tonight. And John, this should be a good one. New Hanover just moments ago punched their ticket Saturday night. They await the winner of this highly anticipated matchup.
Yeah, New Hanover down by at least 10 or 12 points most of the game. Found a way to get back in it early in the fourth quarter and then, just pounded Richmond County to the point of exhaustion and then end up finding a way to win in the last 30 seconds. Outstanding ball game.
No question about it. We'll take a look at our players to watch. For Lake Norman, it all starts with the 6'10 Trent Steinhauer, a double-double machine for the Wildcats and over 4 blocks a game. He's got to stay out of foul trouble tonight.
Yeah, he's the key. And Lake Norman really does not, North Mecklenburg does not have any size outside of Isaiah Evans, and he's usually floating around the perimeter. Steinhauer is the key. He's got to play physical. He's got to be tough. He's got to score, and he's got to defend the basket at the other end.
On the other side, for North Meck, it's a top 20 player in the country that is coming off a 48-point performance against Myers Park in the Elite Eight on Friday. Isaiah Evans, the Duke signee, does a little bit of everything for the Vikings.
Well, the big thing he does, Kendall, is put the ball in the bucket. He is an elite, and I don't use that word very often. He is an elite shooter. And when I'm talking about shooting, he's got big-time range, NBA-type range. And at 6'8", it's hard to really bother him on his shot. He can also take it to the hole and finish. But I tell you what, fans are in for a treat tonight watching this kid shoot the basketball.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A top 25 player, as we mentioned, signed with Duke in the class of 2024. Talk about that loaded Duke recruiting class that John Shire has coming in. Trent Steinhauer, only a junior. This kid at 6'10's got multiple Power 5 offers, and he'll jump it up against Isaiah Evans for the tip-off. Lake Norman in the white unis. They've got the blue letters, blue trim. North Meck in the royal blue and white numbers here tonight. The fourth and final, regional final game of the night, and the last ticket to be punched for the state championships right here at Lawrence Joel Coliseum tomorrow and Saturday.
And I know, Kendall, I've been waiting for this one all day long. This bottom bowl of the Wake Forest Arena here is almost full. It's going to get loud. It's going to get exciting.
North Meck wins the opening tip. Chadlin Traylor, who's an excellent driver of the basketball, surveys the floor. Here's Ashton Pierce, sealed off on the baseline and taken away. Active hands. Yates the steal.
And Lake Norman's going to play that 2-3 zone, and they'll trap out of it. We just saw him trap the corner. Kind of caught North Mecklenburg a little unaware of what was going on down there.
Santana Lynch gets it over to Trent Steinhauer. 6'10 kid. He can really stretch the floor because he can shoot it from there. Lynch trying to drop it off. It's deflected out of play.
Kendall, both teams really pride themselves on the defensive end, and they do it different ways. North Mecklenburg primarily a man-to-man team. Lake Norman primarily a zone. They'll mix it up 1-3, 1-2-3. They'll trap out of both of them. So it's going to be a real interesting matchup, especially early, watching them trying to figure each other out.
Santana Lynch, who won a state championship with Myers Park last year, trying to get his Lake Norman squad in it. And McKinnon, the bank is open after hours in Winston-Salem.
I tell you, it was opened up early for Watauga, and now it's opened up for Lake Norman.
Open look, Pierce trying to dial up the three, knocks it up.
Little 1-2-2 matchup trap. They're going to get one hard trap on the backside, then go man-to-man. North Mecklenburg.
Evans pokes it loose, wants it up top for the flush. 5-3 start for North Meck. Evans the rebound and a travel.
Both of these teams like to run on misses and turnovers, Kendall. I don't know how fast Lake Norman wants to play because I tell you what, North Mecklenburg can get up and down with the best of them, and I don't know if you really want to get in a track meet with them.
Lake Norman out of the Greater Metro 4A Conference, coming off of an Elite Eight win over 20-point win against Chambers, who was in North Mex Conference, a really good Chambers ball club. Lake Norman played a complete game in that matchup, and this is off the foot of Ashton Pierce. It's going to stay with the Wildcats on this end. Nick Arnold, the triggered in for Trent Steinhauer. Steinhauer looking for space, pressured by Xavier Young. Steinhauer on the follow-away, leaves it short. Rebound Isaiah Evans. Here come the Vikings. They want to push the pace. Open look from three. It's Trey Maxwell.
Until you play North Mecklenburg, you have no idea how quickly they get the ball up. And they're not looking to try to get layups. They're looking for wide open threes.
Lynch finds a crease and the finger roll over the front edge. Santana Lynch, good length, John, at 6'5", can stretch defenses as well.
Well, his game is putting the ball on the floor and attacking the rim, and I think there's going to be some room in the paint. You know, one thing North Mecklenburg does, put a lot of pressure on the perimeter, which tends to open up the paint a little bit, and they don't have a shot blocker protecting the rim.
Here's Nick Arnold, the sophomore, spins down the paint, and a whistle and a foul against the Vikings. And that's going to be, I believe, team foul number 2. And it's on Isaiah Evans, his first. And Nick Arnold will trigger it in for Lake Norman.
If I'm Lake Norman, I go right back at Isaiah Evans again. Try to get a couple quick ones on him. Normally the young man doesn't get in foul trouble. Very aggressive, but very smart. High basketball IQ.
Steinhauer nearly had it poked away. Arnold saves the possession, kicks it out. Yates from distance. Ashton Pierce trying to pull in the rebound. Here's Maxwell. Back to Evans. Good shot fake. Off balance three. Can't get it to go. And Arnold the rebound for Lake Norman.
Excellent closeout by Trey McKinnon on Isaiah Evans on that three.
Lynch off the back of the iron. And rebound collected in. Back the other way comes Trey Maxwell. There's a whistle and a bump. Foul against the Wildcats here at the 4:51 mark of the first quarter. When you think about North Meck basketball, this is a dynasty program. Their 5th straight Final Four appearance, and they've won 8 of the last 9 regular season championships out of the Queen City 3A, 4A conference. On this step through, it's long. And a shove in the back. This is going the other way. Four and a half left to play, first quarter. Arnold slashing in, he traveled.
Nice job by North Mecklenburg staying vertical on that penetration. Arnold got in pretty deep. Looked like he was trying to pass the ball, Kendall. He didn't have anybody to go to. He got surrounded by North Mecklenburg defenders.
8-5 lead for the Vikings. New Hanover, who's 32-0, waits the winner of this one in the 4A state title. Ashton Pierce wants the baseline, the kick out. Maxwell, he can shoot it. Off the mark, rebound Nick Arnold. Here come the Wildcats. Steinhauer from way downtown. Short, McKinnon, the offensive board. Yates, he'll dial it up. You betcha! Josh Yates, the equalizer at 8.
Kendall, Josh Yates, almost 50% from 3. He is a sniper, and North Mecklenburg has got to find him. He's got tremendous range. Look where this young man is. He's way beyond the college arc.
It's interesting because both of these teams will mix and match what they do defensively. Evans on the fall away. Saved back in play, but a foot was on the sideline. Carson Evans out of bounds, and this is going to go back to the Wildcats.
And against that 2-3 zone, Coach Lewis has decided to put Isaiah Evans at free throw line, which is a very important spot, but he's such a prolific three-point shooter. It's kind of a waste of his talents to have him in the middle.
Josh Yates was so big in that Elite 8 win for Lake Norman. on Friday night, and Steinhauer gives the Wildcats the lead.
And Lake Norman's got to get a lot of that from Trent Steinhauer this evening. Basically, North Mecklenburg, the only person with the kind of size and length to be able to stand up with him is Isaiah Evans, and you're running a big, big risk for him picking up fouls early trying to battle against the bigger Steinhauer.
Good shot fake from Pierce on the deflection. McKinnon the steal.
Now, when North Mecklenburg penetrates, they're not looking to score, Kendall. They're looking to get a paint touch and kick it out for a three. I'm a little surprised he tried to pass that ball to Isaiah Evans at the free throw line instead of kicking it out for a three.
Quick hits by Evans. Trying to take it coast to coast. And a whistle. And a foul comes in.
Well, that's a tough call, Nick Arnold. Looked like he had all ball from here. Kendall had his hand on top of the ball. Good job by Isaiah Evans to attack the glass. His first couple jumpers haven't been falling. Good way to get out of a rut like that is attack the rim. See the ball go in the basket.
North Meck undefeated in the state of North Carolina this year. Their 3 losses came to out-of-state opponents like the Link Academy, Millennium, to name a couple. Here's the kick out. Evans sets his feet and buries it from 3.
And that's what I was talking about. He's kind of a waste putting him in the middle of that zone. Let him flare around, play a little bit on the perimeter, set some flare screens for him on the outside of that zone, open him up. He's got unlimited range on his shot.
Josh Yates surveys the floor. Nick Arnold, who was so big in that Elite 8 win over Chambers, just took over in the second half for the Wildcats. Steinhauer calling it for it in the post. Yates wants the baseline, couldn't finish it. And foot on the baseline of Steinhauer. It'll go back to North Meck with 1:57 left to play in the first quarter.
North Meck doing a good job of sandwiching Steinhauer down in the post. You got a little guy in the front, a little bit bigger guy in the back. Very difficult to get the ball to a big fella when you got him pinned in between 2 defenders like that.
Evans, up fake. Good closeout by Yates that time. Maxwell wanted the baseline. The kick out. Jedlin trailer from deep. Tapped around, fight for the rebound. Santana Lynch comes away with it. Lynch up the floor looking for McKinnon. Had it blocked from behind. And then a foot was out of bounds. This is going to stay with the Wildcats on this end of the floor.
Wow, what hands by Carson Evans. Watch him come behind Trey McKinnon and get that ball before he goes up to flush it through. That's tremendous defense.
And Trey McKinnon, number 15 in white, also a junior with multiple Division I offers and an offensive foul. That'll be the first on Trent Steinhauer.
And that's where Trent Steinhauer's got to be careful. Little moves like that where you're really not serving a purpose. Chin that ball, take a look around. He can shoot over any one of these North Mecklenburg defenders. There's no reason for him to ever put the ball down on the floor.
What was so impressive about the Wildcats win Friday night as Evans hits it from 3 and gives North Meck a 4-point lead was the fact that Steinhauer in that Elite 8 game for Lake Norman got in foul trouble late in the first quarter, picked up his second. McKinnon lost his footing. And now a jump ball, the arrow going to keep it with the Wildcats.
Yeah, going back to that Lake Norman Chambers game, I actually thought Lake Norman played better late in the second half when Steinhauer was on the bench. They played a little more freely. They moved the ball, a little better spacing. Not saying that they're a better team without him, but they're more than adept at playing when he's not out there on the floor.
Murray, a big rebound. Wow. And Steinhauer just picked up his second.
Yeah, Steinhauer's got to know better. That's, North Mecklenburg had possession of the ball. You just got to give that up and go back. You're way too valuable to your team to be picking up little ticky-tacky fouls that far from the basket.
Grant Dryden will check in place of Trent Steinhauer. One of the 6 seniors on this Lake Norman roster. Coach Grant Hodges says such a close-knit group, the deepest team, of course, he's had. He's in year number 5 as the head coach, an English teacher at Lake Norman High School.
Grant Dryden coming in to replace Steinhauer. He's 6'6". Pretty wiry kid, doesn't have a lot of bulk to him, probably $185, but he is very physical, and he's got the trust of his teammates and his coaches.
And Evans on the step through with a finish. Arnold brings it up the floor. I think Nick Arnold and Josh Yates are the 2 keys for Lake Norman tonight like they were in their Elite Eight win.
Well, they've got to take care of the ball. There are two primary ball handlers for Lake Norman. I think Trey McKinnon's got to knock down some shots, especially with Trent Steinhauer sitting down with those 2 fouls. He's really the only other guy that's got the potential to get his own shot and score points in bunches.
Evans missed everything on the fall away. McKinnon leaking out, deep 3. And the first quarter comes to a close. It's a good one in the 4A West Regional Final, 16-10. Vikings leading the Wildcats. We'll be right back on the NFHS Network.
You know, I love being local for my customers. It means helping friends and neighbors. The people in this county care about who they walk beside. That's what makes it so good to live here. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
NCHSAA Championship event is brought to you by North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Welcome you back to Lawrence Joe Coliseum in the 4A West Regional Final. North Mac a 6-point lead and an 8-0 run, John, to close out that first quarter. What are the Vikings doing so special right now?
Well, they're getting the ball to Isaiah Evans. I believe he's got all 8 of those points leading into the second quarter. Nice dish inside right there to Xavier Young. But, you know, he is absolutely taken over this game thus far. And, you know, Coach Hodges has got to think hard about, you know, maybe coming out of those zones and going man-to-man and doubling Evans every time he gets the ball, because he's just making it look real easy on the offensive end.
A whistle and a foul and free throws coming for Xavier Young. I think Grant Hodges is talking with the official that foul was on the floor, but Young going to the free throw line. And Xavier Young, the sophomore, good length, 6'4", 190, has given the Vikings significant minutes this year, and he extends the lead to 7. Lake Norman really needs a bucket right here.
Well, they need to space and pace a little bit, move people, move the ball.
Lynch, long on the floater.
They got to make Lake Norman guard him for more than 5 seconds, which is what they just did.
Chatelain Traylor, offensive foul. You get a second look at the replay.
You talk about a guy named Chatelain Traylor, boy, Kendall, that guy gets downhill, and he gets downhill in a hurry. And if you don't stop him, I'm telling you, he can get end-to-end in less than 4 seconds. If you don't stop him, he's going to be finishing with a flush on the other end. He's the guy, in my opinion, outside of Isaiah Evans, which is the most valuable player of their team. He gets everybody involved, and you can't press him when he's out there on the floor either.
Oh, clean hands, quick steal from Arnold, and he goes up and draws the foul. The pickpocket after the Vikings had corralled the rebound, and the sophomore Nick Arnold's got a pair of free throws coming for the Wildcats.
And if you're Lake Norman, you got to knock down these free throws. It's hard enough to get shots against North Mecklenburg. You've got to cash in on these freebies.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We mentioned you and I had that game last Friday. Nick Arnold really took over in the second half against Chambers in their win. So you get a look at Grant Hodges, the head coach for Lake Norman, year number 5. He's an English teacher at Lake Norman High School. He's got a son that plays college basketball at Averett University in Danville, Virginia, and Arnold missed them both. Wildcats on a major scoring drought, going back to a couple of minutes left in the first quarter, and a turnover.
Greg Murray out there for North Mecklenburg, 5'11" junior, really slick ball handler. Doesn't shoot it a whole heck of a lot, but he's very adept at getting into the paint and then finding the shooters on the perimeter.
He's a very good defender for the North Mac Vikings as well. Impacts the game in so many different ways. Vikings in a man-to-man look on D. Murray's got the assignment on Josh Yates, number 3 in white, who's attracting Division II and Division III interest. Steinhauer's back out there on the floor playing with 2 fouls. I think if you're the Vikings, John, you got to go right at Trent Steinhauer.
Oh, absolutely.
Evans trying to play bully ball with Googans on the fall away. It's short. And Googans pulls in the rebounds. Santana Lynch slithers into the paint, double clutching, score it, and the foul.
And Santana Lynch, as you mentioned before, Kendall, played at Myers Park last year when Myers Park defeated these same North Mecklenburg Vikings in the regional championship game. So, you know, he is very familiar with the North Mecklenburg players. He's got a big role this evening. He, more than any other of the Lake Norman players, can put the ball on the floor and get to the hole.
And there's a look at Dwayne Lewis, the head coach for the North Mac Vikings. We mentioned this Vikings team. They've won 8 of the last 9 regular season championships in the Queen City 3A, 4A. This is their 5th straight year in the Final Four. Ashton Pierce on the pull-up J, and Steinhauer collects the rebounds. Steinhauer's got to be extremely careful out there playing with 2 fouls for the Wildcats. Yates, shot fake, looked at the 3. They got to get Trey McKinnon going. One of their other double-figure scores, and a whistle and a foul underneath.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Kendall, Steinhauer's got to be careful. You know, not only is North Mecklenburg small but physical inside, but they've got a way of getting in your head, too. They do a little bit of chatting with you down in the lane area, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, if you're Steinhauer, you can't get baited into being too physical or doing something, you know, mentally, make a mental mistake and pick up that 3rd foul.
Googans up fake. Yates, Steinhauer wants it in the low post, and he draws the contact. Dwayne Lewis thought it was clean, and we'll take a second look at the replay.
I know Ashton Pierce got a lot of basketball. Looked like he got all basketball to me, Kendall. I understand why Dwayne Lewis is a little upset with that call.
Trent Steinhauer, a guy that has got plenty of Division I offers. You look at Steinhauer, he's got Power 5 offers, including Steve Forbes and Wake Forest, who were at his game in the Elite 8 last Friday. Steve Forbes was in attendance at Lake Norman. Wildcats coming to this one as the number 2 seed. They had home court advantage for the first 4 rounds, helping them make this Final Four run.
And Steinhauer at 6'9", 6'10", is very, very skilled. He's got to put on 30, 40 pounds to be a Power 5 player, but he's got the things you can't teach. He's got feel, he's got skill.
Lynch poked it free, and good transition D. Traylor raced him down from behind to knock it out of his hands.
Well, the ball's never safe when you have possession of it when you're going against the North Mac defense. They're going to chase you down. They're going to swat at it when you go by. They're going to reach in. And, you know, a lot of coaches say, you know, they foul all the time. They foul so much that you can't call them all. And, you know, a lot of coaches don't mind that philosophy.
Lynch, the kick. Googans dials it up off the mark. And Traylor tracks down the loose board. Up ahead, Maxwell, catch and shoot 3. He can't knock it down. It's Santana Lynch all over the glass for the Wildcats.
Yeah, he's doing an outstanding job. Kind of disappeared for a while against Chambers last Friday, but he's balling tonight.
McKinnon, teardrop, no. And a whistle and a foul, and who's that going to go against?
I think they got Will Googans with a push from behind. Guarantee you Coach Hodges' heart skipped a beat there. Steinhauer was right in that general vicinity. He's like, oh, my gosh, that can't be 3 on my big guy.
Well, Lake Norman was down 17-10 when Steinhauer re-entered the game. They're on a mini 5-0 run. Coach Hodges took a gamble. So far, so good. They go right at him. Missing the bunny was Traylor. Rebound Wildcats. McKinnon in the open floor. Coast to coast. Can't lay it in. Steinhauer on the putback, no.
And Steinhauer's got to finish that. At 6'9", 6'10", you got to flush that through.
Evans long on the 3. The kick out. Traylor, he'll try it. And he swirls it in.
North Mecklenburg gets a lot of their three-point attempts on offensive rebounds. They're not going to look to stick it back in. They're going to kick it out and find a shooter. It's exactly what they just did right there with Chadlin Traylor.
North Mac, 5 of 11 from deep so far in the first half. Yates down the alley. Through contact, double clutching. And wanted a foul, he couldn't get it. Couple of chances from close range for Yates. Maxwell wants the baseline, he'll drive right at Steinhauer, couldn't get the roll.
You know, Maxwell's got that knee brace on and hurt himself, I guess, playing pickup several weeks ago. And, you know, it's obvious he's not his normal self. His shots are falling a little bit short, and he didn't really have the explosiveness that he had early in the year going to the bucket back then.
Evans trying to back his way in on Yates. Traylor loves to get downhill. Pierce, really good driver, can't get it to go. A whistle and a foul. And that might be Steinhauer's third.
Yes, it is. Calling it on Steinhauer. That's awful tight. I think the big mistake Steinhauer made was he did not make contact and try to box out after Ashton Pierce shot that first shot. At that point, any kind of contact by the defender is going to be a foul.
Trent Steinhauer hampered with foul trouble. On the bench the rest of the first half with 3 fouls, and there's still 3:15 left to play in the second quarter.
And we got to mark this down. They're down 5 when he sat out. 3:15 is a long time left in this half. Lake Norman's got to play their best basketball while the big fella's sitting over there being assistant coach.
Guggens surveys the floor. Yates trying to get around Maxwell. McKinnon launches from 3. He can't hit. And the Wildcats right now cold from 3, 2 of 11 from downtown.
And that's a little bit deep right there, Kendall. About a step behind the college three-point line. Got to work for a little bit better shot than that.
Numbers for McKinnon and the Wildcats. McKinnon to the bucket. Can't lay it in, but he's got a pair of free throws coming.
You know, the front of that 2-3 zone that Lake Norman is playing, it's not a typical 2-3 zone. They're flat across the back, and then on the front, they're picking you up almost at half court, Kendall. So it's almost like a matchup 2-3, which is what creates these turnovers, and they get these runouts. Trey McKinnon is a very long, athletic 6'5". You don't see long, athletic 6'5" guys on the front of zone very often in the high school ranks.
And McKinnon splashes the first free throw through. Trey McKinnon, a kid that his recruiting is really taken off this year. His junior year, we mentioned he's got plenty of Division I offers in the Sun Belt, the SoCon, the Big South, and starting to attract that high major interest as well. Again, 6'5", rangy guard.
And he's young. He's got another growth spurt. He's got a lot of room to fill out. He's got a lot of natural skill and physical talent, explosive leaper. It's going to come. It just might not come soon enough for him to get those Power 5 offers.
Maxwell, nowhere to go, gives way. Evans leaves it short, loose, out of bounds. This is going to go back to Lake Norman.
I tell you, Isaiah Evans has really cooled off since that first quarter, and a lot of it has to do with how much pressure Lake Norman is putting on him on the catch.
Both these teams have that spurt ability, if you will, where they can go on massive runs, can throw massive haymakers. We've seen that all season long. North Meck coming off that Elite 8 victory on the road at Myers Park, the defending 4A state champions, 79-63. They were dominant in the second half of that game.
Well, a lot of it was defense, too. They were creating live ball turnovers. They were getting out in their lanes, knocking down threes. Isaiah Evans obviously was a huge part of that, too.
Yates from way downtown, fouled shooting the 3.
I tell you what, talking about Josh Yates, 49% three-point shooter. You know, he's a little deceptive, but boy, he gets rid of that ball quick. He's got a really quick release, a lot of wrist on his shot, backspin on the ball. And, yeah, that kid right there, if you're not on him on the catch, he's going to get that shot off.
We mentioned Josh Yates attracting Division II and Division III interest. Well, North Mac 3 misses at the charity stripe in this one already as he knocks down the second.
It's going to be a tight ball game, Kendall, and I feel that, you know, the team that does the little things is going to come out on top. And, you know, as you mentioned, they've left 3 points at the free throw line. It's hard enough to get points, you know, against North Mecklenburg, but you got to cash in on these freebies.
20-19, 1-point game, late second quarter. Little zone look on D. The Wildcats mix and match their pressure. Evans through his hands, tapped into the backcourt. Out of bounds, it's going to go back to the Vikings.
A nice move by Coach Hodges for Lake Norman. He's got the 6'6", Grant Dryden on the front with Trey McKinnon. So there's 6'5", 6'6" across the front of that 2-3 zone. That's giving North Mech a little bit of a problem.
Ashton Pierce gets a ball screen from Isaiah Evans. Pierce sets his feet for three. Off the back of the rim, and Santana Lynch skies for the rebound. Here comes Trey McKinnon. Lake Norman, 28 wins on the year. Lynch, nowhere to go. Gets it back to McKinnon at the top. Just 2 losses, 28-2 of the Wildcats, 28 wins for the Vikings. As Dryden hoists for 3. Tapped out, Evans leaking out in transition. And Showtime with the flush.
And that's a mental mistake. If you're going to have your guards attacking the baseline to rebound, you got to rotate somebody else back. And here we go. They're leaking out again, Kendall.
Maxwell lays it in. Back-to-back buckets for the Vikings.
And that's demoralizing. If you're Lake Norman, you're working so hard to get good shots. And you're taking shots that are a little bit out of your comfort zone, which is opening up these guys to release for North Mecklenburg.
Yates, the spin cycle, gets around Maxwell. Explosive first step in the finish.
Boy, the kid plays a lot bigger than 5'11", doesn't he, Kendall?
Well, Josh Yates, extremely strong in the upper body as well. That's one thing that stands out about him. When he attacks the rim, he can absorb contact. Evans from way downtown. Oh, my goodness!
That was from the logo. Are you kidding me?
As the first half comes to a close, take a second look. Showtime Slim from downtown Winston. We'll take a break. We'll be back 27-21 halftime on NFHS Network.
In 100 counties in North Carolina, we have over 800 agents. We are within the communities, and our job is to help you. It's not just a business relationship, it's a friendship. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
This presentation of the NFHS Network is brought to you by Uber Teen Accounts, introducing an Uber account for your teenager. Visit uber.com/teens to learn more.
Check out this year's financial fitness with Wells Fargo.
You know, I love being local for my customers. It means helping friends and neighbors. The people in this county care about who they walk beside. That's what makes it so good to live here. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
NCHSAA Championship event is brought to you by North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
We welcome you back to Lawrence Joel Coliseum. Kendall Lewis alongside the former coach John Reister here with you on the NFHS Network in the 4A West Regional Final. Someone going to punch their ticket to the state championship on Saturday to take on New Hanover, who topped Richmond by 2, 55-53 earlier. As we take a look at some of the first half highlights, and John, Trent Steinhauer was on the bench, picked up his third foul in the second quarter and was hampered. He picked up his second late in the first. They put him back into the second quarter, a gamble, and it worked out for a while. They went on a mini run, and then he got his third.
Yeah, once he got his third, it was just like open season on the front of the rim. You see Isaiah Evans attacking there. Isaiah Evans has had an incredible first half. 15 points, 6 out of 12 from the field, multiple threes, and doing a good job on the boards. And, you know, he's playing center field defensively, so that's keeping him out of foul trouble. Although the North Meck guards done a great job of just keeping the Lake Norman guards out of the paint. There's been no penetration whatsoever. Lake Norman having settled for threes. I'm going to tell you, Steinhauer's going to play a big, big role in this second half. He has got to establish a post presence because that is the hole in a North Meck defense. I think if they can get him the ball early and often in this second half, that's if Coach Hodge decides to start him in the second half, which you got to kind of think about too. You don't want to pick up his fourth foul quickly, but I think he is the guy that they've got to lean on in this second half because, to be honest with you, North Meck doesn't really have an answer defensively to him inside.
Lake Norman just 16% from three, 2 of 12 from three-point land in the first half, and Trey McKinnon, a guy that they've got to get going as well. McKinnon in the first half, a little bit quiet with only 5 points. And you see Trent Steinhauer, 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 fouls. Here's a look at that 4A West, that matchup that we're calling right now. North Meck, Lake Norman, the 5-seeded Vikings, the 2-seeded Wildcats. New Hanover, the 32-0 East Regional champion that was crowned in the game before this one, awaits the winner in the state title. Trent Steinhauer starts the second half. On the turnaround, he can't get it to go. Arnold takes it away from Pierce and draws the foul.
What an aggressive play by Nick Arnold, sneaking in there with the trees and stealing that ball when North Mecklenburg player brought it down. That's just strength right there. And then to take it straight back up and create the foul, that's showing great aggressiveness from Nick Arnold.
Well, Nick Arnold, just a 10th grader, is so strong in the upper body. Got to capitalize right here. North Meck and Lake Norman both in the first half. You think about the free throw line. Vikings were just 1 of 4. Lake Norman is now 8 of 13 at the free throw line.
Little 1-3-1 from Lake Norman. They haven't shown that one yet.
Traylor trying to attack. They kick it out. Maxwell for 3, buries it.
Mistake defensively by Lake Norman on the penetration. They all collapsed. You know North Meck is penetrating the kick for the 3. You got to stay home on your shooters.
Steinhauer looked at the 3. Picks up his dribble. McKinnon, free throw line jumper, gets the roll. A soft bounce here at Lawrence Joel.
Trey McKinnon, another guy for Lake Norman, has got to step up, averaging 15 points on the season. Been awful quiet this evening.
Take away Lynch, another steal. Lynch, coast to coast, to the rack, can't finish. McKinnon misses it from close range. Wow. Lake Norman has missed some bunnies in this ball game.
Yeah, if they come out on the losing end of this, they're going to look back at that free throw line. They're going to look back at those missed layups.
Maxwell for 3, spins out, and Steinhauer the rebound. Josh Yates surveys the floor. Arnold, he can shoot it as well. Really good driver. Steinhauer sets his feet for three. It rattles out.
Good look for Steinhauer. I still think he needs to be around the basket. You're kind of doing North Mecklenburg a favor playing him 30 feet from the bucket.
Evans doesn't need a lot of space. In and out. Steinhauer the rebound.
Well, Isaiah Evans just continues to get good looks at the basket.
Arnold to the bucket. Wanted a foul, didn't get it. Chadlin Traylor attacking downhill on the pull-up. Jay, you betcha.
And we talked about in the first half, Chadlin Traylor, he's getting downhill. He's getting downhill hard, and he's getting downhill fast. And you got to slow him down at the top of the key, because once he gets past you, he's getting all the way to the rim, and he will finish.
Lynch had it poked out of his hands. Isaiah Evans will lead the break. Evans, coast to coast, missed it with the right hand. Santana Lynch the rebound. Leaves it off for McKinnon. McKinnon, off glass, yes.
And that's what Trey McKinnon needs to do. He needs to be aggressive, take the ball to the hole. Incredible athleticism, 6'5", long arms. He should be able to finish against any of these North Meck players.
Traylor up fake, oh, good drop off. And missing the bunny from close range.
Steinhauer had a lot to do with that, Kendall. Got a finger on that ball.
Yates spins, Xavier Young takes it away, and a whistle and a foul on Yates at the 4:51 mark.
Yeah, Yates a little out of control there. Turned his back to the ball. Here's Trey McKinnon finishing strong.
That is the first on Josh Yates. Team foul number 1 on the Wildcats here in the third. 6-point game. And Lake Norman just 2 of 11 from 3 in the first half, hanging around, only trailing by 6. Traylor from deep, he hits it.
Boy, this kid's going to be a heck of a basketball player at the next level. 6'3" point guards that can shoot and distribute and attack the rim like him are hard to come by, Kendall.
Lynch attacking, Lynch on the finish. Santana Lynch. Big bucket to trim the deficit back to 7, but Maxwell's got an answer.
You know, Maxwell is running to the same spot right there in front of North Mecklenburg's bench this entire half, Ken. I don't understand why Lake Norman hasn't figured that out.
McKinnon soft off the window. Back and forth we go. Pierce leaking out. Had it knocked out of his hands. It'll stay on this end with the Vikings.
Well, I tell you what, North Mecklenburg, watching film on them, I knew they were quick when the other team opponent scored on that sideline break. And, boy, I tell you what, they get it in, flash up that sideline. They're attacking under 3 seconds.
They inbound the basketball to Trey Maxwell. Chadlin Traylor picks up his dribble in the paint. Nowhere to go. Back out. Pierce sets his feet. And it's off the back of the rim. McKinnon pulls in the rebound for the Wildcats. With Josh Yates really good at impacting the game. And Steinhauer, big time flush.
Maybe that'll get Trent Steinhauer going. I know it just got this crowd going, Kendall. Holy smokes, what a finish.
And there's a whistle and a foul. And it's going to go
Get
against
a look at this, Kendall.
the Wildcats as we take a second look.
Nice job of slipping that screen.
Team foul number 2 on Lake Norman. Let's get a second look on the screen and roll. Trent Steinhauer on a rack attack.
Well, he had me fooled. I thought he was going to try to slide in there and finish with the left hand. Good job by the big fella to just take it right to the 10.
Maxwell on the step back 3. Short, tapped around. Evans, offensive board, back up, had the shot altered. Into the hands of Lynch. Numbers for the Wildcats. Santana Lynch, double clutching, tap back, yes.
I tell you what, I think that dunk by Steinhauer might have woke Lake Norman up.
And all of a sudden, you can feel the momentum starting to shift a little bit here in Lawrence, Joel. Just under 3 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Traylor kicks it back. Now he'll dial it up for three and connects. Every time Lake Norman makes a push, North Meck has an answer. And a timeout with 2:34 left to play in the third. 41-34, the lead for North Meck, 7. And we take a second look at some highlights as McKinnon finishes off glass. You get another look at that Trent Steinhauer flush. And of course, North Meck on the other end, able to answer. A big time three from from Chadlin Traylor to extend the lead back to 7.
Yeah, I tell you what, watching Chadlin Traylor, his expression never changes. He's very focused. He doesn't get caught up in all the shenanigans that might be going on around him. He's just steady. He's calm. He's everything you would want in a point guard.
Santana Lynch has had to pick up some of the load. 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals for Lake Norman. Wildcats with the basketball out of the Greater Metro 4A Conference, where they went 11-1 this year. Santana Lynch wants the baseline, the drop off. Arnold can't get the roll. Grabs his on miss. Back up. Counted and the foul.
Smallest guy on the floor, Kendall, trying to take this game over. I love it.
Nick Arnold had been looking for a burst, and he absorbs the contact high off the glass.
Kendall, he just wanted it more. Everybody else just kind of standing around watching, and here's Nick Arnold going up with 2 hands and just snatching it down and finishing. That's a big play.
Completes the 3-point play. It's a 4-point game, 41-37 with just over 2 minutes left to go in the third.
Got to be careful on the 1-3-1. Isaiah Evans is going to set a screen. He's going to pop. Whoever he set the screen on's got to hug that screen and not let him get the basketball.
Traylor wants to attack on Steinhauer. Yates, the pickpocket. Numbers for the Wildcats. Lynch, out of control, called for the charge.
Well, I tell you what, that was close, Kendall. That was close. Could have gone either way.
Wow.
Don't know if Santana Lynch dropped his shoulder or not, but to me, that's kind of a play on right there. That's a big play right there. They score that layup. They've cut this lead that North Meck has down to 2.
We mentioned North Meck went undefeated in the state of North Carolina this year. Their 3 losses to out-of-state teams. They went to City of Palms. They went to Hoop Hall. Here's Isaiah Evans attacking. He can't finish. Tapped out into the hands of McKinnon. In transition, McKinnon!
Whoa!
The flush! 2-point game. Here's the Joel.
Lake Norman trying to make a statement here, Kendall.
Yates trying to face guard Evans. The bounce. Traylor lines it up again. Can't get it to go from 3. Arnold fighting for the rebound. It's loose on the floor. And a jump ball. The possession arrow is going to keep it on this end with North Meck.
Well, I tell you, it's becoming obvious to me, Kendall, watching this Trey McKinnon slam right here. But it's becoming obvious to me, Kendall, that Coach Hodges decided, you know what, we're not going to let Isaiah Evans beat me. And we're gonna shadow him. We're gonna chase him. And we're gonna try to let these other guys beat us because they're doing a good job this half of keeping him from getting those wide open looks that he had in the first half.
Steinhauer gonna lead the break. Steinhauer, oh, the smooth finish by the 6'10", big fella.
And that's why he's being a Power 5 recruit, Kendall. He can do it all, putting it on the floor, running the show like a point guard.
High off the window, the answer. Chadlin Traylor gets downhill and finishes.
Man, Traylor is just tough as nails. I love that kid, Kendall. Wow.
Arnold surveys the floor. McKinnon wants the baseline on Evans, draws the foul.
Evans had good position on McKinnon on the drive, but he brought his hands down, put both hands on him, automatic whistle. One thing Isaiah Evans is going to have to do to play in the ACC, he's going to have to put on some weight. He's strong, as wire as he is, but he's going to have to put on some weight to hold off those ACC guards.
That shouldn't be a problem with the Duke strength and conditioning program, especially this summer. His body will transform. Steinhauer, tap back, and the foul. A chance at three and a chance to give Lake Norman the lead.
Now this is the Trent Steinhauer that we talked about pregame, Kendall, having an impact on both ends, altering shots, and once again, first one to the basketball, two hands finishing. This kid's pumped, he's ready to go. Still got to be careful. He can't pick up that fourth foul. Don't get too excited.
Steinhauer leaves it short. Santana Lynch. Oh, a 2-for-1 special. And the third quarter comes to a close. The Wildcats take the lead, 45-43. We got 8 minutes to send someone to the 4A state championship on NFHS Network.
In 100 counties in North Carolina, we have over 800 agents. We are within the communities, and our job is to help you. It's not just a business relationship, it's a friendship. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
This presentation of the NFHS Network is brought to you by Uber Teen Accounts, introducing an Uber account for your teenager. Visit uber.com/teens to learn more.
Things just got interesting at Lawrence Joel Coliseum. North Mex led by as many as 9 points in this ball game. This was with 2.9 seconds in the third. Santana Lynch off the offensive board, off the missed free throw, taps it back in to give Lake Norman a 2-point lead. 45-43 to start the fourth quarter.
Well, the story's been points in the paint. Kendall said Steinhauer's came alive. They're up 24-10 points in the paint over North Mecklenburg, so they've got to not fall in love with a three-point shot. They got to continue to find Steinhauer and hit the offensive glass.
With Lake Norman, number 2 seed in the West region this year based on the RPI rankings. We mentioned North Meck, undefeated in North Carolina. They played 3 out-of-state teams. Unfortunately, didn't really help their RPI, hence why they're the 5 seed. But they have been the cream of the crop in the 3A, 4A split conference. And Dwayne Lewis gets a timeout. Evans had nowhere to go in the corner.
I tell you what, Lake Norman doing a great job of switching and hugging whenever Isaiah Evans gets near the basketball. He's trying to pick and pop. You can see that on film. Get ready for the game. I'm sure they talked about it in the locker room. You know, they double from the weak side on this corner. Excellent job by Lake Norman making the adjustments at halftime to make it very difficult for Isaiah Evans to get shots.
Get a look inside of Lake Norman's huddle. It's interesting in this game and North Meck. There are 2 kids playing in this game that are both sons of 13-year NBA veterans. You think of Trey Maxwell for North Mecklenburg, his father Vernon Maxwell, a 2-time NBA champion. Santana Lynch for Lake Norman, his father, 13-year NBA veteran George Lynch, in attendance tonight, and it's been a good one. Evans, off the window, smooth as silk.
And maybe that'll get him going. He hadn't had a shot in a while, but 2 or 3 minutes since he's gotten a shot.
45 seconds into the fourth quarter. We're knotted up at 45. Lynch had it knocked out of his hands, out of bounds. It'll stay with the Wildcats.
And there's Chadlin Traylor again, giving up quite a bit of size to Santana Lynch on the penetration. Just quick hands, knocking that ball out of bounds.
Inside they feed it. Steinhauer trying to go to work. Steinhauer through contact, gets it to go.
Yeah, might have gotten fouled on that too. A little surprised at it. A lot of hammering down low from the North Meck defenders.
Pierce wants the baseline. Steinhauer walls up, and he finishes it over the top of the 6'10".
Boy, nice finish by Ashton Pierce. Trying to draw the foul, I thought, more than finish the shot. Found a way to get it go in. Excellent job by Steinhauer to wall up and not bring his arms down.
Arnold in the paint, kicks it back out, Yates. With Maxwell defending. Arnold swatted from behind by Evans.
But you gotta love it. Nick Arnold, 5'11", posting up to 6'3", Ashton Pierce calling for the ball.
McKinnon looked at the three. McKinnon on the pull-up, Jay. And wide left.
That's a good-looking shot right there from Trey McKinnon. Got to make them, though. You cannot allow North Meck to get those defensive rebounds, get in transition.
Shot altered inside. Good save by Steinhauer to Santana Lynch. He's got it poked away, and Evans comes up with it.
And once again, the North Meck defenders, I believe once again, Chadlin Traylor coming from behind, knocking that ball loose. You got to be strong. You got to be aware. Guys are going to chase you down.
Pierce trying to spin. Gets it to go again over Trent Steinhauer.
You know, Steinhauer's being careful not to pick up that foul. He needs a little help. Lake Norman needs to double down from the guard position, but when you do that, you're going to leave a shooter wide open.
Oh, Yates, the spin cycle through contact in the finish. And Grant Hodges wants a timeout.
And that's a good timeout by Grant Hodges. Things getting a little bit dicey on the defensive end for them, missing some assignments, and, real easy buckets off penetration for North Mecklenburg the last couple. And, you call a timeout, you reset. Maybe you go back to the 2-3 for a couple possessions and go back to that 1-3-1. It's been so effective in the second half. You know, something else I'd be talking about to Trent Steinhauer is, hey, big fella, if you only got 3 fouls, you don't have 4. Okay, so it's okay to go back trying to block shots because they're obviously attacking him down in the lane.
How about Ashton Pierce that had back-to-back buckets over the top of the 6'10" Trent Steinhauer? I mean, North Meck has several guys that can beat you in a multitude of different ways. It's not just Isaiah Evans.
Well, you got that right, Kendall. They've got a bunch of weapons. They got shooters, they got penetrators, they got great offensive rebounders. But I tell you what, number 0, that guy right there with the ball, he's the one that makes them go.
Evans wants it back, lobs it up. Now it's loose on the floor. And Dwayne Lewis gets a timeout for North Meck.
Dwayne Lewis recognizing that his player's getting ready to get tied up. And he does have the possession arrow, but that might come into play later. You might want to just save that possession. You know, you got plenty of timeouts in these games. You get some media timeouts. So, I like that call from Dwayne Lewis because this possession right here is huge with the score knotted up at 49, Kendall.
Here's a look at the 4A bracket. New Hanover improved to 32-0 and punched their ticket earlier over Richmond. 55-53. That was a classic here at Lawrence Joel Coliseum earlier this afternoon. And one ticket left to be punched against state championships start tomorrow night. 1A and 3A classifications all day long and into the evening here at Lawrence Joel. There's a look at the matchups tomorrow. It'll start with Corvian and Wilson Prep at 1 o'clock. And, of course, some really good matchups. West Rowan trying to defend their 3A state championship from a year ago. Cherokee East Columbus. And that nightcap, Central Cabarrus and 71st in the 3A.
Congratulations to all those teams, their fans, and their coaching staffs. Quite an accomplishment. May even make the state championship game.
Evans with space, could knock down the jumper. McKinnon attacking. McKinnon finishing. 51-49. Traylor sets his feet from distance. Off the mark, tapped out, and McKinnon secures it.
Another thing Lake Norman's done this half, Kendall, they're not allowing any second chance points by North Mecklenburg. And that is saying a lot because North Mecklenburg is elite when it comes to offensive rebounding.
Lynch tosses back. Steinhauer for 3. off the back of the rim. Here comes Evans trying to attack on Steinhauer. Missed it with the left. Tap back, no, and Steinhauer pulls in the rebound.
Well, I tell you what, that kid's come alive. He's doing everything he needs to do to protect that rim for Lake Norman.
Lake Norman only led for 109 in the first half. Again, we mentioned North Meck had a 9-point lead at one point in this second half. And Lynch had it knocked out of his hands. Quick hands by Traylor to poke it free. Evans wants it, launches, off the mark, but he grabs his unmiss. Evans with the left hand ties it at 51.
And that's one of the few mental mistakes that you're going to see Nick Arnold make. Closed out on Evans and then did not finish it up with a nice block out. You don't want to block out three-point shooters, but you can get in their way, keep them off the offensive glass.
Arnold pulls it back, sizing up Pierce off a screen of Steinhauer. Steinhauer wants it from distance, rims in and out. Rebound Vikings.
Yeah, Steinhauer needs to get back in the lane.
Evans attacking, Evans the finish, and North Meck back up on top by 2.
With those long three-point shots that Lake Norman is settling for, it's the long rebounds are allowing North Mecklenburg to get in transition and get these runouts.
Yates to the bucket. Yates gets it to go. Both teams trading baskets here late in the fourth.
Better get out there. He'll pull it from there.
Evans driving. Evans, floater, no. Lynch the rebound.
Boy, how much has Santana Lynch controlled the boards defensively for Lake Norman?
McKinnon gives it back to Yates with 2:23 to go in the fourth quarter. Well, Josh Yates and Nick Arnold can control tempo of a game so well. Both these teams with 28 wins this year.
Got to be careful if you're Lake Norman. You don't want to get passive. That's when North Mecklenburg will come out and trap you and create a turnover.
Almost 45 seconds. Yates attacking. Yates draws the foul.
And I'm sure that's exactly what Coach Hodges for Lake Norman was wanting to happen. Lake Norman continue to just draw the North Mecklenburg defense out and then shoot through, draw the contact. Now they got to capitalize on these free throws. They've left 4 or 5 points out there, and when you're in this tight of a game, this late in the game, you cannot leave any more points out there.
And Yates spins out the first.
Now you got to remember, at the end of the third quarter, North Mecklenburg got very lax on a free throw box out.
Yates 1 of 2 at the line. Lake Norman a 1-point lead. This one has been wire to wire the entire game. And a bump and a foul called on Trey McKinnon.
Well, I tell you what, Isaiah Evans, he's such a tough matchup at 6'7", 6'8". He can pull it from the logo. You run out at him, he can take it past you. He's just a terrific player.
Ball fake from Maxwell. He's got unlimited range as well. Evans on the fadeaway. Can't get it to go, and Steinhauer secured the rebound momentarily. Now it's up in the air. Evans goes up and gets it. Poked free, and a whistle and a foul.
Wow. That was close, Kendall. Like to see a replay on that. That looked pretty clean. I don't know. Fisher's got a lot better angle on it than we do.
Evans sizing up Yates. Evans on the fall away. Tough shot. Pierce, the board. Pierce out of bounds, and this is going the other way.
Pierce getting a little bit tangled up with Santana Lynch. Inadvertent contact. Dwayne Lewis not happy about it.
All right, John, 1 point lead, 117. If you're Lake Norman, what are you doing here?
Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to take care of the basketball. And if you get an opportunity to get a run out or an open lane to the basket, you got to take it. Second thing you got to do is if you don't get the shot that you want, you don't want to turn it over. You've got to take care of the ball, and you just cannot let North Meck get anything easy.
They could leak this clock out. Again, no shot clock in North Carolina high school basketball, and McKinnon goes up, and he's fouled from behind.
Nice job of spreading the floor by Lake Norman. They got the matchup they wanted. Could have been a foul right there outside the three-point line. Definitely a foul at the basket.
And it all comes down to the charity stripe.
Well, Trey McKinnon's made 57 free throws this year. Coach Hodges doesn't post his percentages on Max Preps, but 55 free throw makes is a lot of free throws, so you got to feel like Coach Hodges is pretty comfortable with Trey McKinnon at the line.
Well, Trey McKinnon, as we mentioned, his recruiting has really picked up this year, and here he is in a big moment, knocks down the first. 57.4 ticks left. Someone is going to punch their ticket to the 4A state championship on Saturday here in Lawrence Joel Coliseum.
You got Trey Maxwell just checked back in for North Meck. You have to know where he's at. He's going to be standing right over there in front of the North Meck bench.
He missed the second, out of bounds, and it's going to stay with Lake Norman. 54.8 seconds left. And a timeout. Talk about the Wildcats dodging a bullet after the missed free throw. They maintain possession.
Well, we talk about all the time the fundamentals of the game, the most basic fundamentals of the game. You do everything with two hands. And if you're rebounding the basketball, you got to go up with two, not one. You're up there with two hands. What just happened doesn't happen, Kendall. So, you know, it all comes back to the basics. It all comes back to the fundamentals. Now, if I'm over there with Coach Hodges, I'm talking about number one, we got to take care of the ball because we do not want to let them get a steal and go down and get something easy. You only have a 2-point lead. So if you don't convert here and you take a shot, you definitely have to protect that three-point line because I can guarantee you Dwayne Lewis is down there saying, hey, take the first good look from three that you got. If not, get it to the basket. You know, the good thing with for Lake Norman is Steinauer still only has 3 fouls, so he can be as aggressive as he wants to be in this last minute protecting the rim for Lake Norman.
If you weren't with us earlier on, Steinauer picked up his third in the second quarter. And Evans picks up a foul. A second goes off the clock as he fouls McKinnon. And that was just team foul number 2 on North Meck.
So they can afford to be very aggressive also because they still got to give away 3 fouls for Lake Norman to start shooting free throws.
And they get it in the hands of Yates. He's fouled. Excuse me, that is the 4th team foul on North Meck.
So the next one Lake Norman's going to be shooting.
We talked about it. This game has had everything you can ask for. Big-time shots, big-time finishes around the rim. And it all is going to come down to the charity stripe in the waning seconds. And they get it to Josh Yates. That's who they wanted to go to the charity stripe with 48.8 ticks left.
And Josh Yates has missed 3 free throws thus far. So a pretty good decision by North Mecklenburg to deny everybody else the basketball and then foul as soon as he caught the ball.
Once again, New Hanover awaits the winner, and Yates leaves it front iron on the first.
Yeah, and he's talking to himself, and he says the ball's slippery. He's got to regain his composure, just relax and let it go. Stop thinking so much.
Yates, 1 of 2. It's a 3-point lead.
So with the 3-point lead, I'm pushing out on North Mecklenburg, taking away the 3. Who cares if they get a 2? We get the ball back.
Evans, space, can't knock it down. Lynch the rebound, and they foul. 37.4 seconds left.
And now these free throws, Kendall, become even more important because you knock down one of these 2, you've got a 2-possession game. 38 seconds, a long time to play basketball, though. A lot could happen in 38 seconds.
An eternity.
This game's a long way from being over.
That's an eternity with two powers, Lake Norman and North Mac going at it as Lynch rattles in the first. That one's huge.
You know, I like the fact that Santana Lynch is at the line right there. Having played and won a state championship last year for Myers Park, I don't think this moment's going to be too big for him.
Second one rattles out. Steinhauer can't put it back. It's a 4-point game. 32 seconds. Evans attacking. Evans the finish. 28 seconds. Don't go anywhere, folks. Get your popcorn ready. 28 ticks to send someone to the state championship.
And the McDonald's All-American going coast to coast.
Wow.
Right now, if you're Lake Norman Kendall, first thing you got to do is get the ball in. That's easier said than done against this North Meck pressure. And you gotta know that Dwayne Lewis is going to match up hard man-to-man, probably get one, maybe two traps. It is a 2-point game. You still got 28 seconds. But if Lake Norman does get the ball into the front court, you got to think that North Meck at that point has to foul.
And as you've mentioned time and time again, got to be strong with the basketball if you're Lake Norman right here.
Well, officials are going to let you play this last 30 seconds. They don't want to determine the outcome of this game. They're going to let the players determine the outcome of the game. So you're exactly right. You got to be strong. You got to step to the ball. The first thing you got to do is catch it. Don't try to catch it and put it immediately on the floor because you know a trap's coming from North Mecklenburg.
Santana Lynch running the baseline, turns it over. Are you kidding? And now North Mac can hold for the last shot. 21 seconds. Evans, the fall away. You betcha. Ties it at 57. And a timeout, Grant Hodges.
And I think they're going to have to put some more time back on the clock. I don't think the clock operator stopped it on the whistle. It was pretty loud in here. He might not have heard it. Look at the All-American taking this game into his own hands.
Wow.
Terrific shot.
Isaiah Evans has hit big shot after big shot in his entire high school career. John mentioned a McDonald's All-American, a top 20 player in the country who's heading to play for John Shire and the Duke Blue Devils next year.
And what did we talk about? You got to get the ball inbounds first. And what North Mecklenburg did was a very smart move by Dwayne Lewis as they backed the guy off of the inbounder, let him play free safety, which created more pressure that the wings that were denying the ball they could exert because they knew they had help in the middle. So they forced everything to the outside, gambled, and it paid off.
And Lake Norman will get it sideline out of bounds.
And this is not an easy place to get the ball in. We used to run a play, Kendall, where we would flash the guy to the ball, and then we would release everybody up the sidelines, so at least you had an angle to get the ball in without it being intercepted.
They get it to Josh Yates. 8 seconds, tied at 57. Arnold, the sophomore. Arnold trying to take it in, knocked out of his hands with 1.8.
And you still got to catch and shoot at 1.8.
And a timeout, Grant Hodges and the Lake Norman Wildcats. What are you drawing up on this inbound play? You got to lob something maybe up high for Steinhauer.
Well, I don't think you have to do that yet, Kendall. You got 1.8. I mean, you got plenty of time for a catch and shoot. All good teams, and we're talking about two great teams here, practice this every day. He's not drawing anything up over there. They practice this. All they have to do is go out and execute it, catch it, and shoot it. If I'm North Mecklenburg, there's more pressure on them because they've got to defend without fouling, which is not an easy thing to do at this stage in the game. Because you know if they make the shot, game's over, your season's over.
1.8 ticks on the game clock here in Lawrence Joel Coliseum. This is the final regional final game, the last ticket to complete what the state championship picture is going to look like the next 2 days, and to send someone to the 4A state title to take on 32-0 New Hanover.
You got Isaiah Evans on Steinhauer.
Steinhauer at the buzzer. No, and we are going to overtime.
The fact that North Mecklenburg had Isaiah Evans at a long 6'8" on Steinhauer, that's what caused Steinhauer to rush that shot. We got some free basketball, Kendall.
Put 5 more minutes on the game clock here at the Joel. Lake Norman and North Meck, haymaker after haymaker in this game, and a 4-0 run to end the fourth quarter and take this thing to overtime.
Well, and I tell you, both teams probably a little deflated right now, probably more so than Lake Norman than North Meck. But you know what? Nobody's in foul trouble for either team. You put your 5 best guys out there. I think the officials have kind of loosened up a little bit. They're letting them play. These players are going to decide the outcome. And, I still think it's going to come down to who takes care of the basketball. Because you turn it over a couple times and give the other team some easy buckets, that's going to be a huge momentum swing. And we got 5 minutes to play to determine who's going to play in that state championship game on Saturday.
Take a look at that tough fadeaway jumper from Isaiah Evans to knot it up at 57 in the waning seconds of this ball game. 4 minutes to try and decide who's going to the 4A state championship on Saturday here at Lawrence Joel. If you're Lake Norman, you got to regain composure. You had a 4-point lead.
With under a minute to go.
Yeah.
So like I said, they're probably a little deflated. North Mecklenburg's probably feeling pretty lucky right now. So I think whoever scores first in this overtime is going to have a huge advantage, Kendall.
Steinhauer to jump it up against Evans. Well, the official's going to go over and have a chat with McKinnon. And free basketball. And North Mac wins the tip here in overtime.
Isaiah Evans running through. You got to find him.
Got to know where number 0 in blue is. He wants the rock in his hands in these moments.
Good job by Josh Yates to keep him from getting it on that ball reversal.
And Ashton Pierce kicks it back. Maxwell, he can shoot it. Traylor looked at it. He'll pull it back instead with 3.5. 30 seconds have gone off in the overtime period. Traylor, drive, kick. Evans from deep. Can't hit. Long offensive rebound. Back to Evans in the paint. Evans swatted away by Steinhauer. And Lake Norman will try to strike first here in overtime. Yates spins, kicks, McKinnon from distance, no. Santana Lynch the offensive rebound, and he draws the foul.
Boy, it's getting so loud in here, Kendall. I didn't even hear the whistle. I just saw Santana Lynch come down with that rebound and step out of bounds. I thought, what's he doing?
Take a second look. Isaiah Evans had the shot rejected by Steinhauer. And
I like the fact that the officials are letting them play again. Because, the last thing you want to do is have an officiating mistake or an overzealous official determine the outcome of these games. These players played way too hard and have earned the right to settle it on their own.
Santana Lynch makes both. A 2-point lead for the Wildcats. Under 3 to go in overtime. Chadlin Traylor surveys the floor. That zone look from the Wildcats yet again. Maxwell sets his feet from 3, and he connects.
That's the 4th one this half from that exact same spot, Kendall. And it was Isaiah Evans setting that screen to free him up.
1-point lead for the Vikings. Arnold gives way. Josh Yates into the paint. Yates up strong, knocked to the floor, out of bounds. Last touch by the Vikings. Take a second look at Trey Maxwell knocking it down from deep for North Meck to retake the lead.
And it was the All-American Isaiah Evans setting that screen. And as a defender, you can't leave him to go cover Maxwell.
Josh Yates is going to have to leave the game. Grant Hodges is talking with the official. There's a little bit of blood on his arm. and the trainer going to tend to him. As you get a look at Grant Hodges, the head coach for the Wildcats, we mentioned this is his 5th year as the head coach at Lake Norman High School. He's an English teacher at the school. His son plays college basketball at Averett University in Danville, Virginia, and Yates going to re-enter the game.
And I like the fact that the officials gave him time to get cleaned up. He's a very important part of what Lake Norman does, and that's a nice piece of officiating. Well, now it looks like they're going to make him check out. Maybe he couldn't get the blood to stop flowing.
So now Will Googans is going to check in. That's a blow for Lake Norman.
Well, that's a tough spot to ask Will Googans to step into.
You get it inbounds to Santana Lynch. Here's the skip. McKinnon sizing up Evans. Wildcats have not made a 3 since the second quarter. They had 2 makes from downtown in the first half. They're 2 of 16 for the game.
Well, and I think you need to try to find a way to get the ball to Steinhauer.
Steinhauer trying to put it back and can't do so. Rebound Pierce with 2:04 left to play. And Isaiah Evans will pull it out for the Vikings. And North Mac going to try to eat some clock here with under 2 minutes left to play in overtime here at Lawrence Joe Coliseum.
And they're pulling Steinhauer out, and they're trying to post up the smaller Nick Arnold with Isaiah Evans.
And Arnold reaches in and gets called for the foul. So Evans is going to go to the line for North Mac. We talk about the charity stripe the entire game. And this is what it comes down to with just over 90 seconds left to play in this ball game. Well, now it's going to be a baseline out of bounds for North Mac.
And that's the only third
just
team
the third
foul
foul
on Lake Norman. So I guess the foul's carried over from the fourth quarter.
Evans went to the free throw line like he was going to shoot. They get it in bounds to him. He lost it momentarily. Goes back up, can't get the roll. Tapped around. Santana Lynch had it. And now a fight for the loose ball.
Oh, I think they granted North Mecklenburg a timeout. Nobody had possession. How does that happen?
The Vikings get a timeout with 1:32. Take a second look.
I mean, that's a tie-up all the way there. I don't understand how North Mecklenburg was granted a timeout in that situation.
Wow. And had it been a jump ball, the possession arrow favored Lake Norman.
This could be a big turn of events right here.
The Vikings going to maintain possession with 1:32 left to go in the ball game and leading by 1.
And here's a little box set. Look for Isaiah Evans to maybe post, and then they're going to try to maybe bring Trey Maxwell off the backside for a 3. I've seen him do this before in the half court. I haven't seen him do it from an out-of-bounds situation.
Chandler trailer to inbounds. Floats it into Maxwell. There's a trap and then a whistle and a foul.
I think Lake Norman is trying to get the foul situation up to 5 in case they want to send somebody to the line.
So that's the 4th. Less than 90 seconds left to play. Here's Isaiah Evans, pressured by Santana Lynch. Evans, the stutter step. Evans goes up and draws the foul.
That's a nice isolation play by North Mecklenburg to get Isaiah Evans one-on-one on Santana Lynch on that wing. No help coming from Lake Norman. A little surprised they didn't run over and try to double and give Santana Lynch a little bit of help.
Isaiah at the charity stripe rattles out the first. We mentioned this kid has hit clutch shot after clutch shot in his career as a North Mecklenburg Viking. Makes on the second a 2-point lead. Nick Arnold with the basketball in his hands, just over a minute to play. Kendall Lewis, Coach John Reister here with you on the NFHS Network. Someone going to the 4A state title. Lynch. Steinhauer, shot fake, attacking. Steinhauer, the finish, and we're tied up at 61.
And the fact that Steinhauer made a couple threes earlier in this game forced North Mecklenburg to fly out and cover that three-point shot, give him a lane to the basket.
Evans attacks and finishes over Steinhauer. 63-61, 32 seconds remaining. McKinnon wants the baseline. He was sealed off by Isaiah Evans. Everyone starting to rise to their feet, and Grant Hodges calls a timeout with 22.6.
That's a good timeout by Grant Hodges. Trey McKinnon picked up his dribble, had nowhere to go. North Mecklenburg in complete denial position. Was going to be a 5-second call if Coach Hodges did not call that timeout.
Take a look at that last bucket by Steinhauer that tied it at 61, and then Isaiah Evans, who else, comes down and gives North Meck a 2-point lead. Lake Norman basketball, 22.6 seconds to go in overtime.
Isaiah Evans, boy, I tell you what, Kendall, he's as good as advertised. Now, his jump shot hasn't been going down quite as often as it did against Myers Park. I think he missed maybe 4 shots against Myers Park in the regional semifinal. But I tell you, he's learned from it. He's putting the ball on the floor. He's been nearly unstoppable taking it to the basket.
And that Elite Eight win over Myers Park, Isaiah Evans dropped 48. Go back to last year, he had a 62-point game, which ranks second in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools record books. A bucket getter. Santana Lynch drives in. Lynch turned back. Loose on the floor. Evans picks it up with 8 seconds. Ripped away by Arnold. And a whistle and a foul.
Wow. Wow. I thought they were going to call the foul, Kendall, on the scramble for the ball. And I thought there might have been a foul there, and that's a clean steal by Nick Arnold, and I think that's where they called the foul.
And Isaiah Evans, if he can make both, could virtually ice this game. Makes on the first. And it all comes down to this for the Vikings.
Well, if he misses this one, Lake Norman can still take it down and knock down a 3 to tie this thing up.
Evans makes them both. 65-61. Arnold with 6 seconds. Arnold gonna have to put it up. It's off the mark, and North Meck has punched their ticket to the 4A state championship game.
What a ball game, Kendall. Took an extra 4 minutes to decide it. Both teams outstanding play this evening. It's sad one of the teams had to lose and go home, but I'm going to tell you something. That's a whale of a basketball game.
What a ball game. Wire to wire. And Isaiah Evans comes up big for the Vikings yet again to send North Mecklenburg to the state championship. As we take a look at our final scoring for tonight's game, Evans finishes with 30 to go along with 11 rebounds, 3 assists, and a couple of blocks and 5 steals. He is our player of the game tonight. And North Mecklenburg will take on New Hanover in that 4A state championship game Saturday. Game time's yet to be determined.
And I tell you what, that game's going to be a track meet. Both teams want to run. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if New Hanover's got an answer for Isaiah Evans. I don't know if anybody's got an answer for Isaiah Evans. That kid literally just took this game over in overtime. And what an outstanding performance by the McDonald's All-American.
Final score 65-61 in overtime. North Mac wins it. For Kendall Lewis, John Reister, our producer Mike Moore, we say so long and good night from Lawrence Joel Coliseum in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.